welcome to another episode of Sharing is Caring here in the Agile Get Together community. My name is Klaus Meisel. I'm one of the organizers, and today I have a guest. His name is Evgeny Bagaryakov. He is a lead product manager, and we are going to talk about fraud users in mobile applications. But before we start, Evgeny, welcome. Great that you are here today.
Hi, Klaus. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Yeah, it's great meeting you in person. And hi, everyone who is listening to this episode. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk with you about this topic. But before I start, my name is Evgeny. I work in Agile. I'm product lead of anti-fraud team, and for supply side team. Agile is a big mobile-based company. We're doing SDKs, which helps other company to monetize their traffic. So we help mobile apps to grow in general. And that's why I think it's going to be cool to speak about fraud topic, since it's so big in the past months for the industry in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm already curious. So I would say let's start. Let's jump right into the topic. And we are curious to hear about your experiences.
Yeah, sure. Cool. So just let me throw a few numbers before we start. Recently, AppsFlyer is like the biggest MMP in the market. They released a report. It's called like anti-fraud report, where they do just simple observation of the industry. And they estimated the financial impact of detected fraud in the market for over $5 billion. That's a huge number, I assume, and that means that they estimate that all apps in general lose this amount of money through the year, which is crazy. And that means that somebody earns this amount of money. And this is probably what fraud users are doing. Also, the trend for fraud users in general is growing a lot. We saw that AppsFlyer detected that comparing first half and second half of 2022, the increase of app install fraud grew to by 40%, which is also a crazy number, right? That means that people who are doing the fraud are developing over time, which is crazy. But I guess seeing this amount of money that they are making makes them think how to keep earning this amount of money and keep evolving as a group of people. Yeah. So I guess the first question will be like, who are those fraud users and why do they do it? I guess they're doing it in order to earn this amount of money and try to somehow find the loopholes to earn this money or to use some sort of bonuses in your app. For example, you're a game, right? And you give daily rewards or you give welcome bonuses. Fraud users might be using this and hurting your business, hurting your revenue that you make on the customer base, and hurting your margin and other indicators that you track on your as a business on a daily basis.
Sorry to interrupt. Is this what fraud users are doing? And you were naming some examples just this minute. Is this always illegal, or are these legal loopholes, as you called it?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are multiple categories of fraud users, right? It's hard to say what's legal and what's not. It's usually determined in the terms of service, for example, of an app, of a particular app or whatever. In advertising, what they're doing is trying to, let's categorize them, right? There are some users who found a loophole, right? Let's say you're a user and you found that you can get this reward from the app by doing some set of actions, right? That's not illegal, basically, and you just keep repeating this and you, I don't know, spread the knowledge, and then, I don't know, now 100 users already are doing it. You're hurting the app, yes, but that's not something illegal and crazy. But that's kind of fraud behavior that exists, yes, but it's not that dominant on the market. I don't think those users are hurting the industry for over $5 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other example are users who are doing it as a full-time job. We already saw a lot of users who are like trying to hack through the app. They either use like rooted devices, or if they're advanced users, right, they can root the device, or they use a computer to root your phone and spoof some stuff inside there. They can also be just normal users who don't have that technical ability, but they still have a very huge passion to earning money that way, and they are like having almost infinite amount of time in order to do it, and they just try to find the ways to achieve their goals. I don't know, let's say the easiest example would be, let's say you have an app which does daily rewards or affiliates. Affiliates, I think, is the easiest thing to tell you. Let's say you're a banking app, Revolut, for example, and you say, I give you $50 per each user that you as an affiliate invite to the app, and he opens the account, and I give you $50. I think there was like first affiliate program were super simple and straightforward like this, and those kind of fraud users were using this loophole to invite themselves and getting this $50 for themselves. Let's say he does a second account, invites himself, does third account, invites himself. Yeah, that was kind of behavior what was before. And affiliate program were very much less advanced back in the day. But now, of course, for example, in the same Revolut affiliate program, it will say you, hey, but you need to spend, this new user need to spend, I don't know, 10 euros in the first 2 weeks, for example. That makes it a bit harder for those users. But still, if it's still profitable for them, they will still go for it.
Yeah, I see. And yeah, what could you do, or what is the solution? Yeah, to end this, or to be better prepared.
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on who you're trying to fight with, right? And who you are in general as a business. Like if you're kind of mobile app who is trying to protect them from those users who are trying to find the loopholes, you need to, as a product manager or product lead or whoever, or as someone who works there, you need to think of, hey, what is my loopholes? What can be interesting for fraud users? It's the first thing you need to start your, I don't know, day with, or when you have this task. Next, you of course need to check on the statistics or on like logs of the user to see, okay, do I have some anomalies there? Do I have someone who is making like crazy amount of money payouts, or do I have someone affiliate users who are doing repetitive actions, or do they still follow the same behavior? Do I see that they are, for example, churning straight ahead after they receive a bonus? There will be something to start with, of course, but there are a lot of things that you can do in order to prevent those actions. For example, you can also see who are those users, right? It's always a good question to start with, like who are those users? Like, are those users using the same devices? For example, as an app owner, or someone from the app, who are your users? Which apps are they using? Which devices are they using? Which operating system? What is their IPs? Which countries are they from? What is their, I don't know, local time on their device? And there are a lot of factors that you can potentially get being an app by itself. You can also, for example, if you're advanced enough and you have like good team of developers, you can develop a set of rules. For example, I don't know, let's call it from this IP, I allow only no more than 5 users to create an account. That will be already something good that could help you. Other rules also, like, I don't know, if you have VPN detection, you can also see if it's a residential IP or it's a VPN company. Also something that you can implement in your app. You can also use some Google services, like, for example, recently Google introduced Play Integrity. That is something that can potentially, I mean, we're just exploring this option. This was released, I think, a few months ago publicly. It's something that allows you to check if the user is legit or no. So Google provides you a library which allows you to kind of see if he's spoofing the device or rooting it or it's a legit user. Something that you can also introduce and do rules based on the Google status from this user. Let's call it that way to simplify. Yeah, but also it's a bit technical, right? That's what you can do if you have a developers team and if you have resources. But there are also a set of rules that you can do as a manager who don't have technical knowledge, for example. What you can do is to make this whole journey not profitable for user, right? So if they are spending more time and money on your app or on your benefits than they could earn somewhere else, they will probably switch. And for you, it will also, of course, you need to it's a trade-off. You might lose some customers who might be a good quality because it's too hard to reach this point for them. But you could at least start doing it or thinking about making it a bit more complicated. For example, if you, as Revolut did, right? You do some extra on top rules and on top yeah, basically rules that will say, hey, you can't get this payout right now, you need to do blah. So you're kind of making the time that that user spent after installing your app longer in order to, sorry, my bad. You make the user spend more time in your app, and that before he does the payout or before he receives the bonus. That will give you longer amount of time to identify those users as fraud and catch him.
Are there possibilities how companies can prevent their app even more? Is there a good way to do that?
Yes, sure. One more good way to prevent your app is just in general thinking about security of your services. There are also not just the fraud users, but as you mentioned before, illegal users who are like really hacking into your system, right? That's a big chunk of fraud users, I assume. They're trying to expose your like API and try to reach it from externally. They try to, for example, hack your system, transfer money, or do whatever they can. They're doing like apps that can, for example, let's say you have app and there might be already, if you're a game, there might be in Google Play Store or as an APK, another game which helps the users to somehow access like your coins or something like that, which is crazy, but that's probably was done by some sort of hackers through like hacking your system. Yeah, so you need to keep your code secure and I don't know, audit your systems on monthly basis. Make sure that there is a security team who takes has it under control. But also, what would make sense if you're working in financial industry or you're like having some app where you give a lot of money to user or like high rewards or like yeah, or you feel that there might be a vulnerability in your app, you might implement some sort of know your customer solution because it makes it harder for fraud users. If you, for example, need to verify yourself every time with your password, it will make it harder to reinstall the app and recreate the users for them. Not impossible, but much harder. And also maybe as a something that also AppsFlyer mentioned, they saw that finance sector is one of the most affected industry. That means that the gaming is the least affected industry. That means that we will probably need to learn some lessons from a gaming industry. Go to gaming apps, see what they're doing, see how they protect their coins, how they protect their in-app currency. That's a great value and that's a great lesson for the whole industry, I guess. Also, very good way to fight the fraud can be using good and trusted networks. That means that maybe you need to organize user acquisition team in-house, which would know how to work with the traffic, which would know which networks to use, which is not a good network, and would effectively use your budget to get the new users. And there is a big misunderstanding sometimes for network user acquisition team. In general, if you work with an agency, for example, they might not distinguish fraud user and bad quality user. For you, as for an app, there can be different types of user, right? Let's imagine you have a cohort of users, like thousands of users, who are going inside your app and just going out, right? You can misunderstand them for fraud users, but that might be the users who are not interested in that app at all. And if you have a good user acquisition team, they could help you to see this problem.
Yeah, perfect. Very interesting topic. Thanks for sharing with us, Evgeny. Everyone who is watching the video now, feel free to comment, give us feedback, ask questions. Maybe you have experiences with fraud users or with fraud in apps. So we are interested in hearing from you. And Evgeny, thank you once again for being our guest today and sharing is caring. And sharing this great insights with us.
Thank you. Great pleasure talking to you, and thanks once again for having me here. Yeah, if you have questions, just DM me. I would be happy to answer your questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.